What I'm trying to say in the final analysis, once we take control of ourselves, we have to stop being imitators and be innovators. And realize we've got a continent 12 million square miles. Wherever our bodies are on the face of this earth, our cultural and political heartbeat is in Africa. Whether you ever go to Africa or not, that is your home, that is the home of your spirit, and that is the heart and meaning and definition of your commitment. And none of us, any place in the world, will be free until that continent is free.
The Mossi Warrior Clan was created because myself and others like Brother Nahisi saw a need for a young African group to analyze information concerning the African phenomenon with no bias, with rigor, and with scholarship. We created the Mossi Warrior Clan for the purpose of being an expert research team, of being a team that produced products, a team that was capable of producing products for African people globally to dispel myths, rumors, and provide them with accurate scholarship.
tried to line it up, and he was like, I don't debate y'all. Y'all too disrespectful. Aboriginal Power won't even debate Sean because he's too disrespectful.
He is though. No, he really is though. I can't really like you, bro. You cool, not a coincidence. I actually chop it up with but niggas that come off too heated and disrespectful, like I said, I'll debate you, bro. But we gotta get in the ring first. If you want to be disrespectful like that, at least disrespect me in the ring, bro. Let's start now, bro. Can you disrespect me in a cage, bro? Like I'd rather just do that. Then we go straight from the cage. I mean, put your ice on the way to the motherfucking computer, and we'll debate directly after that, nigga. Shit.
That's why I don't even do fucking with the nigga and shit. You feel me? Like my it's like, wait, bro, talk like that. We gotta get face to face. We can talk to you like that, my nigga.
Yeah, Peanut. You feel me? Go ahead, I got my brother already. Peanut, what's the word, man, brother?
Yeah, I appreciate you, man, but lucky, let me say this, man. First of all, I'm an older brother. I'm young in spirit because I stay in shape. But I'm older. I deserve respect. Don't lie on me. You're not going to get nowhere lying because that's what's going to make you fall face first. Second of all, I'm well known in the Pan-African community. I'm not nobody new. You're younger than me. You don't know this. I didn't put in work and expose Rob Bourne, Sutek, any of them people over there. They know it deep down inside. And I'm gonna be long-winded. I'm a Moorish American. I already had back and forth with them dude. They erased videos. I'm not running from anybody. Don't ever say that stupid shit again. Third, and last but not least, I'm not losing no debate to no Pan-African. So don't ever say that shit again, famo. And that's it. Appreciate y'all, man.
You heard it. If Sean P want to debate, tell him to debate the champ over there, right?
Sutek wanted so this like it's a pecking order. It's a pecking. So Sean want you, and Sutek want him. You say PMF ain't on his
no problem. There's no problem, man. Let's set up the Sutek debate, man. I don't like him anyway.
Okay, so I love that son, bro. I love that warrior mentality.
I love to tell Sutek, tell me. There ain't nothing. My champ always in the chat. I'll pop in. We'll set a topic. We'll set a date. We'll make it pay-per-view. We'll chop it up behind the scenes. I get their contact. We make it work. So, right here. He ain't ducking no favors, bro.
But that's what I'm saying. He do this over here on y'all channel, but then when we get in other
hey, alright, I will block your ass, nigga, because I'm well known for disrupting them chats over there. Nigga, stop fucking lying, nigga. You a goofy, nigga. I would never let a lame ass nigga around me in my face, clown.
You gonna block me and I don't be
It ain't no time I ain't ever been on the Pan-African channel and made my impact. Stop lying. I'm a real man, bro. Stop lying, fam. Don't be PNF like that.
PNF, he trying to trigger you, brother.
Word the fuck up.
But listen, he did that to me, talking about, oh, word on the street, I'm ducking from John P. I've never even had but one conversation with this little disrespectful motherfucker.
Oh, okay, yeah, he a little lot. He like,
so he like,
Y'all find an African in my fucking family, but y'all ain't find y'all
own genealogy.
Shut the fuck up. That don't make sense, for one. Listen, y'all don't know what y'all did.
feel like you standing on business.
Y'all lied on me, because y'all don't even know if that's me. And if y'all can trace that shit back to it's me, it's only 2 people in YouTube that got my information.
Yeah, he died by his own genealogy. You ain't an Indian, you ain't got a lot of me. Half of this track, best believe you lose a lot of sleep. Probably because you made it up to us honestly. You ain't a Cherokee, nope. You ain't a Chickasaw, nope. You ain't a Blackfoot, nope. Nigga, get lost. You just a fool with low comprehension. So I gotta come through with the henchmen. NAC, Sean P, Shy Son, Lucky. Don't forget Jay, got no time to play. Caught an apple slipping with his genealogy. Now he's a con and I ain't talking about a singer. I'm coming for the top apple leader. He ain't a teacher, he's a preacher. He can't keep up, so we leave him. Yeah, he died by his own genealogy. You ain't an Indian, you ain't got a lot of me. Half of the track, best believe you lose a lot of sleep. Probably because you made it up to us possibly. You ain't a Cherokee, no. You ain't a Chickasaw, no. You ain't a Blackfoot. Nigga, get lost. You just a fool with low comprehension. So I gotta come through with the henchmen. NAC, Sean P, Shy Son, Lucky. Don't forget Jay, got no time to play. Caught an apple slipping off his genealogy. Now he's a con. OTK. TKO. Now he's a con. OTK. You died. TKO. Genealogy.
Yeah. I'm built for it tough. You know, this how I used to be feeling, killer, you heard me? Yeah. Crossed out hicks, feel like I'm possessed. I wanna and a baby did, it just ain't happened yet. My wife just said that paper there, I just ain't grab it yet. Nominated for the Grammys, I went back to jail. Racist judge found me guilty, sent me back to hell. Lost trial.
They believe that Abubakari and his crew landed somewhere in Brazil. And as you know, Brazil has the highest population of Africans outside of the continent. I also want to mention that Dr. Ivan Van Sertima in 1987, he presented evidence to the Congress to suggest, not even evidence to suggest, but evidence to prove that there was contact between the Native American people and African people.
Don't never go look for yourself inside somebody else, you heard me? Cause some of these niggas out here ain't really cut like we cut. You know, we cut from a bandana. You know, these niggas cut from shit paper, you heard me? That shit sounds good until it takes place. When I'm built for it tough, and I still hold up. When I'm built for it tough, and I still hold up.
It's your boy Sean P, in the place to be, man. Like the show, share the show, tell a friend, we live. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning to all of you around the world. Let me start here. The video that I just played, right, with Dr. Maad in it, right? Hidden fallacies, right? That video was made and produced during an era and time where we have genetic evidence to substantiate anything historically that our ancestors may have gotten wrong. One more time, that video was done during an era where we have genetic evidence to substantiate anything that has transpired in history and can correct anything we have gotten wrong. Yet that was made, that was produced. And I feel like he kind of prayed and played on it in that moment to have us say something about that. And the reason that I say that is because her expertise is elsewhere. It's not really on West Africa. It's not imprinted on the people of Mali and Mali history. It's not. You don't have people in the community that will teach you about the different kinships, kingdoms during the Malian Empire. They can't take you from the beginning, centralize it, and then end it. They're unfamiliar. Basically, what I'm saying is, when it comes to Mali, people are unfamiliar with that history. And when you hear about Mali, the first thing or the first person in that empire that you think about is Mansa Musa. His story was commercialized on one of the grandest stages of all time in Cairo, Egypt. And it is in that moment, not from a griot, not from anyone on the interior of the empire. It comes out of Mansa Musa's mouth in Egypt. So that means prior to this story ever being told to anyone, the Arabs was the first to hear it. So there was no cross-referencing Abubakar II. Is this a fictitious person? Is it a real person? What does the King's List say? That's the reason and the purpose of the King's List, because you need to go see if you can find Abubakar II. You'll find the first. You need to see if you can find the second and the validity of that. And we all know, according to the historical records, a usurper proceeded because he was so-called a part of the, it's a conversation for another day. I do want to say peace to everybody in the chat, man. Y'all might be on your way home, whatever the case may be. I see big head ass Mika. Yeah, I'm saying she absolutely wrong. Wrong is 2 left feet. She wrong. I've demonstrated that she wrong, even in the last. Yeah, she has a PhD. That's the point. Her PhD, her expertise, right? Mathematics, she's genius. Electrical grids, great. None of that ain't got nothing to do with her PhD. That part of history, that has nothing to do with her expertise, where she's an expert at. That has nothing to do with it. That don't take away from her accomplishments and her achievements through education. They don't belittle her at all. You know what I'm saying? She's just wrong. She ain't the only PhD I know that got shit wrong. I know several other PhDs that have made up some shit and got shit wrong. And we show respect to them because there's some things that they get right. And the things we disagree on, we let them know we disagree wholeheartedly. And here's why. And then they don't want to honor that. They come up with a loophole or some kind of way not to honor it. And then when the times get tough or the rubber meets the road and there's a lateral argument in a different direction, and then that method is brought back into use in order to support them, then you just exposed your bias. You want to apply the method as it pertains to your argument when it's in favor of your argument, but when it's not in favor of your argument, you don't want to apply those same methods. What up, MVP? Oh yeah, man. Hey, man, breaking news. Olu, breaking news, brother. Before I get started, we got breaking news. We have found the Abo and FBA Haplogroup in early America. We have found it. It has been identified, and we now know who these people are. Peace Mari was good with your port in the building. Was good, Donnie. Oh, man. What in the... Will, I see you, Will. That's all I'm going to say, bro. I ain't even going to talk about your Kaba, teacher and teaching, you know what I mean? I ain't going to do none of that. Look like you on both of them with it. What up, Public Enemy? Yeah. Ramon was good. I don't know who the... Oh, I think that's saying Iconic Silverback. Gotcha. Our achievements today will be in... What's up, Leo? Our achievements today would be into properly... And Thurman, what's good, brother? I see you right there. My bad, man. And everybody else watching it had not commented in the chat. Peace to y'all as well. But what we're going to achieve today is the validity of, or the identity of who these people were, the Aboriginal and Indigenous people in the history of Americas. And we're going to start off with revisiting a description that was given by one of the earliest quote unquote people that we know to have come to the Americas and give their position. My brother Chris Chris says, I found Molly ships that made it to America, and old make heads were on the cargo. What up, though? What up, though? Man, you got a degree. Yeah, that's where you got your degree from. Kaba, Willie Lump. All right, so let me share my screen real quick. And I want to reintroduce this description. And I want y'all to hold on to this description, okay? And I'm gonna highlight it for everybody. And for those of you who would, you want to pause the video, that's fine. You can pause the video. Highlight. Bruh. You gonna highlight it? Okay. There you go. Y'all should see that. Bruh, they don't know nothing about Molly, bro. If they not, Chris, if you having conversations with people and they not coming from the Tariq al-Sudan or the Tariq al-Fatish as it pertains to Molly, those are the two primary sources on Molly. And then if they not coming from the corpus, they tripping all the way, bro. It's like, yeah, it's kind of scarce, but it's all good. So this is Columbus's account or description of who he saw when he arrived in the Americas. I need you to remember this, because what I am doing, ladies and gentlemen, what I am doing is I am laying the groundwork, the foundation. I am pouring concrete. I am building the foundation, right, to stand on. Not for us to stand on, but for the Aboriginal community and the FBAs who self-proclaim. All of them with these alternative historical what they call facts that are not facts. Someone with alternative facts doesn't make it facts. Okay? They go as naked as when their mothers bore them, and so do the women. Although I did not see more than one young girl, all I saw were youths, and none more than 50 years of age. They are very well made, with very handsome bodies and very good countenances. Their hair is short and coarse, almost like the hair of a horse's tail. They wear the hairs brought down to the eyebrows, except a few locks behind, which they were long and never cut. They paint themselves black, and they are the color of canaries, neither black nor white. Some paint themselves white, others red, and others of what color they find. Some paint their faces, others the whole body, some only around the eyes, others only around the nose. Now, if you go back and you look at the thumbnail, and I'm going to show you the thumbnail. Hold on one second. Bruh. All right, you should be able to get ready to see my screen. But I want y'all to remember the account. And I'm going to read it to y'all. Y'all see the picture? Let me see if I can make it bigger. Okay. Here's the picture. Now, I'm going to give it to y'all one more time. Just look at the picture. They go as naked as when their mothers bore them, and so do the women. Although I did not see more than one young girl, all I saw were youths, none more than 30 years of age. They are very well made, with very handsome bodies and very good consonants. Their hair is short and coarse, almost like a hair of a horse's tail. They wear their hairs brought down to the eyebrows, except a few locks behind, which they were long and never cut. They paint themselves black, and they are the color of Canarians, neither black nor white. Some paint themselves white, others red, and others of what color they find. Some paint their faces, others the whole body. Some only around the eyes, others only on the nose. What up, No Pseudo? What up, Shabaka? What up, Shy? One more time. Look at the picture. Let me remove the Mossi logo. Hold on. Let me remove the logo. So y'all can see dude's face. There you go. Shouldn't be no question. I'm going to give the account one more time. They go as naked when their mothers bore them, and so do the women. Although I did not see more than one young girl, all I saw were youths, none more than 30 years of age. They are very well made, with very handsome bodies and very good consonants. Their hair is short and coarse, almost like the hair of a horse tail. They wear their hairs brought down to the eyebrows, except a few with locks behind, which they wear long and never cut. They paint themselves black, and they are the color of Canarians. One more time. They paint themselves black. Look at the screen. They are the color of Canarians, neither black nor white. Some paint themselves white, others red, and others of whatever color they find. Some paint their faces, others the whole body. Some only around the eyes, others only on the nose. That is one descriptive account. Here is the other one. As soon as dawn broke, many of these people came to the beach, youths, as I have said, all of good stature, a very handsome people. Their hair is not curly, but loose and coarse, like horsehair. Loose and coarse, like horsehair. And all the forehead is broad, more so than any other people I have hitherto seen. Their eyes are very beautiful and not small, and themselves far from black, but the color of Canarians. Nor should anything else be expected, as this island is in line east and west from the island of Hero in the Canaries. He keeps mentioning Canaries. So the people that he's seeing are looking similar to the Canaries. There's some other accounts, not in this source, but I will bring them up if need be, where he even doubles down on one that gives us the same description he gave initially. But the fact is, just here, the very next day when dawn broke, he said that they look just like the Canaries and that they are far from black. Look at the screen. Look at the woman. Did I not put the correct description on the screen? Do you see the woman? Their hair is short and coarse, almost like their hairs of a horsetail. They wear their hairs brought down to the eyebrows. Look at the woman. Her hair is down to the eyebrows. Look at the man with the cane in his hand up front in the middle with the red paint. His hair is down to his eyebrows. The person next to him, hair is down to the eyebrows. The woman, a few wear locks. They paint themselves black. They are the color of Canarians, neither black nor white. If you took a picture, a black and white photo of the people in this image, I guarantee you, ladies and gentlemen, you would have 20,000 abos, if that many exist, saying, look at the black people. They paint themselves black. We have been saying this for years. We have been given this descriptive account for years. My video was nudity. Where they see nudity at? Where they tripping? Maybe you've been posting too many selfies or something. So today is about the Aboriginal and FBA Haplogroup in early America. So far, we have used only one account, that is Christopher Columbus's description of who he saw and what that looks like. So instead of us playing a mystery game with words, this image should speak way louder to you now. I have basically gave you a clear representation and description of a people that Christopher Columbus encountered when he arrived in the islands in 1492 on October the 11th, when he saw the first people he saw. You looking at them. They were not black. So, what's up with this early Haplogroup, Sean, that you was referring to? All my sources are in order in the description of the video. Let's start. San Basilio de Palenque is a small town near Cartagena, Colombia, founded by runaway slaves. At the end of the 16th century, African slaves started to escape from the coastal city of Cartagena to take refuge in the nearby region of Montes de Maria, establishing the foundations of a town of San Basilio de Palenque, hereafter referred to as Palenque. Exactly when the city was founded is unknown, but there are studies indicating that this community was already established in the second half of the 17th century and ultimately became the first free African community in America. Due to its strategic position, located on the north coast of Colombia, Cartagena City was the center of the Spanish slave trade and one of the main South American ports of arrival for slaves brought from different regions of Africa. The paucity of historical records makes it difficult to establish the exact place of departure of the slaves from Africa. Nonetheless, it is thought that until the early 17th century, the Africans arriving in Cartagena would have left from the region of Upper Guinea. Later, the Congo and Angola, together with Upper Guinea, would have been the major regions from which slaves were taken to Spanish America. At the end of the 18th century, beginning of the 19th century, slaves would have come from several regions from Senegambia to Mozambique. The village of Palenque is currently inhabited by approximately 4,000 Afro-descendants who maintained a cultural and ethnic identity for more than 3 centuries with high endogamy and little influence from neighboring communities. Palenque preserves the ethnic conscience and cultural traits of African roots, such as the social organization, complex funeral rituals, and traditional medical practices, among others. Moreover, it is the only African American population speaking a Creole language with a Spanish lexical base. Due to these characteristics, Palenque was declared by UNESCO as a masterpiece of the oral and intangible heritage of humanity in 2005. During the last decade, the recognition of historical and cultural importance of Palenque has promoted several studies with the aim of reviving its history in searching for the African roots of its first inhabitants. Given the high diversity of slaves arriving in Cartagena, one might suppose that several ethnic groups would be behind the foundation of Palenque. However, this theory has been questioned by linguistic and anthropological evidence according to the region between Congo and Angola, the ancient kingdom of Congo, as the origin of the first inhabitants of Palenque, with an almost exclusive contribution from a single Bantu ethnic group, the Bakongo-speaking Kikongo. However, cultural genetic features do not always come together, and few genetic studies have performed to confirm a single geographical source of the founders of Palenque. The first genetic studies carried out with human leukocyte antigens markers reveal limited Native American and European gene flow, as well as close genetic distances with African populations, especially from Western Africa. Nevertheless, a higher than expected European input, 38%, was detected when studying the pool of paternal lineages in Palenque. Due to the strong isolation of Palenque, paternal European admixture most likely occurred before its foundation. The results based of autosomal ancestry informative markers show approximately 10% European ancestry, supporting a sex-biased European influx. More recently, Ansari Poor investigated uniparental markers from the Y chromosome and mitochondrial DNA. According to these authors, the Yombe from the Republic of Congo is the most likely group which the original male settlers of Palenque, that is for V note. The original male settlers were from the Republic of Congo. Taking together all genetic evidence available, it is safe to assume that the Palenque preserved a high African ancestry and that the European background was essentially mediated by males. Nevertheless, the information available is not enough to clearly assign the continental regional origin of the parental lineages that are present in Palenque. Excuse me. Concerning mtDNA, the results of the hypervariable segment did not allow us to determine the continental origin in more than 25% of the studied haplotypes. For the Y chromosome, the available information is also fragmentary. Data available in Nogoria for a small number of samples do not allow us to evaluate founder effects, given the lack of information on Y chromosome specific short tandem repeats. Based on the results from Ansari, it is not possible to quantify non-African influx due to the low resolution of lineages outside of haplogroup E1B1AM2. I'm setting the stage here, okay, ladies and gentlemen. Aiming to obtain a deeper knowledge of the diversity of the origin of Palenque parental lineages, in this study, we analyzed the entire mtDNA control region, as well as Y chromosome specific markers. This is the methodology for both maternal and paternal inherited gene pools. We intended to determine the degree of isolation from Native and European influx. Based on comparison and data from African populations, we also intend to contrast the hypothesis of a single against the multiple African origin. Here's the materials and methods. They did a study involving all of these people. Not going to get involved in that. Some children were even involved. This is how they come to support their information about this community of African people. All right, I see that Lions Time Baby didn't hear, but this is in Cartagena, Colombia. Let's move on. The European colonization of the Americas used labor from West and West Central Africa, initially in the U.S. as indentured servants and later enslaved. Although the exact number is unknown and highly contested, it is estimated by some historians that between 8 to 12 million Africans were brought to the Americas in the transatlantic slave trade. Of this total, the vast majority were sold to European colonies in Latin America. Only 4.5% of the enslaved Africans were imported into the United States. 7.8 to Jamaica, 0.03% to the U.S. Virgin Islands. Enslaved Africans came from or through major coastal regions that had been labeled by Europeans as the Grain Coast. What is the Grain Coast? That consists of Senegal, Gambia, Guyana, Sierra Leone, and parts of Liberia. The Windward Coast is Ivory and Liberia. Gold Coast is Ghana, west of the Volta River. Bida Benin is between the Volta and Benin rivers. Bida Biafra is east of the Benin River to Gabon. Central Africa is Gabon, Congo, and Angola. And the southern coast of Africa, from the Cape of Good Hope to Cape Delgado, including the island of Madagascar. In the 16th century through the 19th century, West and West Central Africa were home to a range of societies and cultures of varying social organizations, from so-called stateless village-focused societies to kingdoms. You can read more about state or stateless societies in my Welcome to West Africa video, which is pretty old, but we get into that. The Senegambian region, with a long history of technical expertise in rice agriculture and making indigo dye, included a number of ethnic groups and Muslim kingdoms under Mandi, as well as Fulani rule such as Futatero, Futajalon, and Bandu. Further east is Lower Guinea, where the Akan-speaking people, with likely cultural origins and in the 2nd century common era in the local iron working and trading societies at Bego, within what is now Ghana. The Akan-speaking people were organized into kingdoms, most prominent among them being Ashanti in the south, known for its use of gold in artistic production. Further east were societies that may have been in the descendants of the No culture dated to the last century BC. These include kingdoms such as Benin, famous for its metal sculpture, Dahomey, and the Yoruba states. Adjacent to the Yoruba, the Igbo peoples lived in southeastern, where Nigeria, site of the likely 19th century archaeological site of the Igbo Ekwu, with interesting locally done bronze sculptures and numerous glass beads obtained in long distance trade. West Central Africa was home to several societies such as the Luango, the Ndongo, the Luba, and the Kuba, and notably the Kingdom of Congo, which shared some common metaphysical beliefs between them, although the elite of the Congo eventually accepted Christianity. Historians report that the majority of enslaved Africans that were brought to the United States tended to be from Sierra Leone, Senegambia, the Gold Coast. Africans throughout the West African coast were also imported. Within the British Caribbean, including Jamaica, a large portion of enslaved Africans had origins from the Bida Biafra, the Dutch Caribbean, including what is now the U.S. Virgin Islands of St. Thomas, and enslaved Africans were imported from the Bida Benin. Genetic data obtained from mitochondrial and Y chromosome analysis support these findings for the British Caribbean. Remember, y'all, the name of the show is the Aboriginal and FBA Haplogroup in early America. I know what y'all thinking. Where is it? Why is you giving me all of this, Peace, Wise, and all? What's the point? Well, you got to let the beat build. Modern humans. After I done said all of this about more recent times, I'm going to take you back to bring you forward. Modern humans originated in Africa 200,000 years ago and then spread across the rest of the globe within the past 100,000 years. Thus, modern humans have exited continuously in Africa. Existed continuously in Africa longer than any other geographic region and have maintained relatively large effective population sizes resulting in high levels of within population genetic diversity. Africa contains more than 2,000 distinct ethno-linguistic groups representing nearly 1/3 of the world's languages, except for a few isolates that show no clear relationship with other languages. These languages have been classified into 4 major macro families. Niger Cordophonian, broad speaking across the region. Afro-Asiatic, which we don't accept over here on this channel. Nilo-Saharan, spoken predominantly in Sudanic, Saharan, and East Africa. The Khoisan, languages containing click consonants spoke by the San in Southern Africa, and the Hadza and Asarawi in East Africa. Despite the importance of African populations, genetics, the patterns of genome-wide nuclear genetic diversity across geographical and ethnically diverse populations is largely uncharacterized. Because of considerable environmental diversity, African populations show a range of linguistic, cultural, and phenotypic variation, characterizing the pattern of genetic variation among ethnically diverse African populations is critical for reconstructing human evolutionary history. One more time. Characterizing the pattern of genetic variation among ethnically diverse African populations is critical for reconstructing human evolutionary history. One more fucking time for the people in the back. Characterizing the pattern of genetic variation among ethnically diverse African populations is critical for reconstructing human evolutionary history, clarifying the population of history of Africans and African Americans, and determining the proper design and interpretation of disease association studies, because substructure can spurious results. Furthermore, variants associated with disease could be geographically restricted as a result of new mutations, genetic drift, or region-specific selection pressures. Thus, our in-depth characterization of genetic structure in Africa benefits research of biomedical relevance in both African and African diasporan populations. Yeah, Sean. But where is this haplogroup for the abos and more? Well, okay. I see I still got your attention. The number of people of recent African ancestry living in Americas is comparable to that in Africa itself. One more time. The number of people of recent African ancestry living in the Americas is comparable to that in Africa itself, largely because of the forced mass migrations of the Atlantic slave trade during the 15th and 19th centuries. Pause. What this statement is telling you is that these Black people in America show similarities comparable to one another because of the forced migration, or what we know as the transatlantic Holocaust. During the 15th and 19th centuries. Historical documentation indicates that many Africans were taken from the western coast of the West African coast, but that a large proportion were also taken from former Portuguese colonies of Angola and Mozambique. The perpetrators include the Portuguese, the Spanish, and the British. So the perpetrators for this shit is the Spanish, the Portuguese, and the British. Don't forget the English or the Dutch. We ain't letting nobody slide. They're responsible for moving an estimated amount of people within the 12 to 10 million range. There has been a growing interest in historical roots of African Americans and other communities of recent African ancestry, and genetics can play an important role in the study of that ancestry. However, much of the work to date has focused either on the extent of the African contribution to the American gene pool, which is what we're talking about today, is we want to know the gene pool in the Americas today. Or in a particular mtDNA lineage is carried to the Americas through the Atlantic slave trade. Despite widespread public interest and rapidly growing involvement of private companies in genetic ancestry testing, the only published attempt to date to assign African geographical ancestry to African American lineages by use of genetic data has been by Salas. This later work suggested a majority of the contributions of West Africa to mtDNA pool of North and Central Americas of recent African descent, with a slightly smaller component of West Central Africa, whereas African Americans from, South America, Brazil, reversed the picture with a larger West Central African component. No significant component was detected from the other regions, including Mozambique, despite the historical evidence of the movement of 1 million slaves from the region. Eurasian mtDNA of recent African ancestry were found to be made up only of West Central and North African components, with a larger East African component in the Near East. So, sum that shit up? Not yet. It ain't time. It ain't time. Why? Because Africa is the source of all modern humans. But characterization of genetic variation or relationship among populations across the continent has been enigmatic. We studied 121 African populations, 4 African American populations, and 60 non-African populations in patterns of variation of 1327 nuclear microsatellite and insertion deletion markers. We identified 14 ancestral population clusters in Africa that correlate with self-described ethnicity and share cultural and or linguistic properties. We observed high levels of mixed ancestry in populations reflecting historical migration events across the continent. Our data also provides evidence for the shared ancestry among the geographical diverse hunter-gatherer population. The ancestry of African Americans is predominantly the Niger Kordofanian, 71%, European, 13%, and other African populations. Although admixture levels vary considerably among individuals, this study helps tease apart the complex evolutionary history of Africans and African Americans, aiding both in political and genetic epidemiological studies. Let me pause for station identification. There is no such thing as an Aboriginal or an FBA haplogroup. Simply put, they were not here. They belong to us, but they were not here. They can deny all the evidence they want, but they were not here. They can try to find a loophole against all the evidence and claim it to be another group of people, but they were not here. Why am I saying they were not here? If the Native Americans, the Paleo Indians, when they first entered the Americas, ran into a whole nother peoples, there would have been a freaking war. It would have been a war. Not only would it have been a war, we would have been able to uncover the dead bodies. we would have oral history, some type of story that would have been passed down from one generation to another generation to another generation to another generation to another generation, bringing it all the way up into modern times about their existence. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking on your toes. You're thinking quick. You like, bullshit, how you gonna have that? Don't we got some of their origin stories today? Didn't we have a group of people document that shit during these times? Who says 70% European? Who says 70% European? No. The ancestry of African Americans is predominantly from Niger, Kordofanian. I don't even know. He's trying to say Niger, Congo region, and all this other shit. It's 71%. Europeans is 13%. 71% of African American DNA is a starting point. With European admixture in at 13%, and then all them other variables will be less than 8%. No, I didn't say shit about European being 70%. So I don't know who you is. You want to listen in line? Right here on the screen. Hold up, put it back on the screen. That's why I put everything on the screen. Right here. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, there is no Aboriginal or FBA haplogroups. There is no historical markers that would indicate that they were a significant group of people here of color until we arrive here. So I want to, before I transition into something, let me play this commercial. Give me 1 second. We'll play the commercial, and then I'm going to see if y'all got some questions about what I just talked about, and then we're going to get it in.
Yeah. I'm built for it tough. No. This how I used to be feeling, killer, you heard me? Yeah. Crossed out hicks, feel like I'm possessed. I wanna have a baby did, it just ain't happened yet. My wife just said that paper there, I just ain't grab it yet. Nominated for the Grammys, I went back to jail. Racist judge found me guilty, sent me back to hell. Lost trial.
They believe that Abubakari and his crew landed somewhere in Brazil. And as you know, Brazil has the highest population of Africans outside of the continent. I also want to mention that Dr. Ivan van Sertima in 1987, he presented evidence to the Congress to suggest, not even evidence to suggest, but evidence to prove that there was contact between the Native American people and African people.
Don't never go look for yourself inside somebody else, you heard me? Cause some of these niggas out here ain't really cut like we cut. You know, we cut from a bandana. You know, these niggas cut from shit paper, you heard me? That shit sounds good until it takes place. But I'm built for it tough, and I still hold up. And I'm built for it tough, and I still hold up.
I didn't see no questions in the chat. Now, if we go back and we review what Dr. Mahat said about the story of al-Bukhari, and then whoever some is saying that he ended up in Brazil, should we find evidence of Brazil, of Africans showing up in Brazil? Wouldn't that be available to us? The flaws, man. The flaws. Hold on. I'm trying to get this up on the screen for a minute. Hold on. Wrong one. Put a one in the chat if y'all can see this. 22 are the healthiest blacks. "22 are the healthiest blacks." Y'all see that? All right, y'all can see it, right? Hold up, somebody put a 2 in the chat. You can't see that? All right. What's up, Pure? Who's Sudo? Where's the West African ship technology, Sean, before the 1300s? It doesn't exist. No boats, only canoes. They don't build boats. The Malian Empire don't build boats. West Africans wasn't in the boat building. They only, they built shit to travel the Niger River, lakes, and if you look at all of those boats that are sitting off the coast of Ghana and Senegal, where they would travel, Elmina style, them boats would get right there. They ain't had nothing go beyond that little patch. Don't know them sea travel. That Atlantic could kill them little bit of canoes. I said accident. Okay. What big head is, man? All right, so y'all see the screen. Not 20 and some odd Negroes. I know it's Sabio. Shackle Breakers. I know that's you. Not 20 and some odd Negroes. This is 22 of the healthiest blacks. Bro, if you don't hit the link, bro. Hold on, I'm waiting on somebody real quick, y'all. 22 of the healthiest blacks. This is coming off the ship Brunvitz, but it's got a different name to it. It's got an English rendition of the name. I think it's Brewer or something. I can't remember what it was. Hold on. All right, there we go. All right, so joining me today, who will be reading this article, is going to be the Bar Reloaded. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
All right. So I need you to do me a favor. We're gonna read this very slowly. We ain't in a hurry.
Okay.
You ready? You got water?
Hold on a second.
Your throat clear? We don't know what you've been doing.
You're nasty.
Hey, real quick, let me ask you a question. You see the screen?
Yeah.
Because I know you wasn't here earlier. So look at the screen and I'm gonna read this to you. They go as naked as when their mothers bore them, and so do the women. Although I did not see more than one young girl, all I saw were youths, none more than 30 years of age. They are very well made, with very handsome bodies and very good consonants. Their hair is short and coarse. Look at the picture. Almost like hairs of a horse tail. They wear the hairs brought down to the eyebrows, except a few locks behind them, which they wear long and never cut. They paint themselves black, and they are the color of Canarians, neither black nor white. Some paint themselves white, others red, and others of whatever color they find. Some paint their faces, others their whole body. Some color round the eyes, others only the nose. Do they look like that's what he's describing?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's go. Early 1627.
All right, hold on, let me compare. In early 1627, the Brunswick, a small, fast-sailing warship of 117 tons, 9 guns, and a crew of 37, commanded by Captain Jan Ryer-Swart, sailed from Amsterdam. Almost 8 months later, on August 29th, it arrived at Manhattan, carrying the first group of enslaved African Americans to what would become New York. This is its story. Dutch West India Company privateering. The Dutch West India Company prepared to send out several ships in late 1626 and early 1627. The Amsterdam Chamber equipped 3 yachts, including the Brunswick. The Chamber Zealand equipped a 3-ship flotilla whose first task was to transport a group of colonists to the Oyapock River in what is now French Guiana. Renewed attempts to begin a colony after earlier failures. They then sailed for the Caribbean. The planned rendezvous with the Amsterdam ships eventually took place north of the Guajira Peninsula on the Venezuelan coast on 4 May 1627. The Zealand ships had been instructed to cruise between the Cabo de la Vela and the Cabo de Coquiboca, while the Amsterdam yachts sailed westward to Santa Marta. They agreed to meet again 4 weeks later at Cabo de la Vela. When the Amsterdam and Zealand ships met up again, the latter had in the meantime captured a Portuguese ship coming from Sao Tome with 225 blacks.
Hold on, time out. Do you know what Sao Tome is?
No, it looks like a place. Where it is, I know I don't.
No. I want to show everybody real quick. Hold on. Read that line for me one more time.
It said, had in the meantime captured a Portuguese ship coming from Sao Tome with 225 blacks. Keep going.
I'm going to show y'all where they captured this ship at. I'm just trying to find the right.
He's telling y'all I'm live.
Well, thank you for yelling in all our ears. I'm gonna show y'all. Now, where did they find?
You said, what did they find?
No. Read it one more time. One more time.
The latter had, in the meantime, captured a Portuguese ship coming from Sao Tome with 225 blacks.
Now watch this. Can you see the screen?
Yeah.
Where's Sao Tome?
It's an island.
An island off of where?
Africa. Oh, like.
It's Africa. Look at the countries. Togo, Benin, Nigeria, Cameroon, Equatorial Gabon, the Bight of Bani, or the Biafra, Principe, Sao Tome, Annobon. So read that line again so people can understand what you basically just said. Now that we have a location.
He had in the meantime captured a Portuguese ship coming from Sao Tome with 225 blacks.
So the Dutch West Indian Company then jacked the Portuguese ship coming from Sao Tome with 225 blacks on the ship. Okay, continue, man.
Okay, and as the ship was very leaky and they did not know what to do with the blacks, they took only 22 of the healthiest blacks and what else they could use and let the ship with the others sail on. The aim of I was trying to figure out which ship was very leaky.
Oh, you want to figure that out?
I mean,
the Dutch ship.
Okay. The aim of taking only 22 of the healthiest blacks was to provide the Oyapock colony with enslaved labor at the request of the colony's leader, Captain Jan Van Rijn. The combined fleet tried to sail east, but after 10 days of fruitless tacking against the strong Caribbean current, they decided to set course for Hispaniola to prepare for the next phase in the plan outlined in their instructions. Attacking richly laden Spanish ships sailed to Europe through the Straits of Florida. The two large Zealand ships were better equipped for the task than the smaller yachts, which were mostly used for reconnoitering and communication. In the case of a major sea battle, the presence of captives would hinder the large Zealand ships, and there would not be time to move them from one ship to another. The fleet anchored for 11 days between, let's say, Yaves and Hispaniola to take in fresh water. They also transferred cargo and people from one ship to another. At least one crew member of the Zealand ships, Margin, I don't know how to say their name, Margin Adriens Van Veer, transferred with the 22 Africans captives to the yacht Brunvig, one of the smallest ships in the fleet.
Hold on 1 second. So they jacked the people from Sao Tome. Then we hear about them showing up in the Oyapock colony. This would be considered the Oyapock colony over here. Do you know where this place is?
Not specifically.
It's in South America. Brazil region. So the Oyapock is said to be the first European person to see the Opaki River in the first years of the 16th century. So the Oyapock colony, they see the earliest European colonists in that area that's being mentioned. All right, let's go. Hold on, let me go back. Just getting good.
Okay, sailing on westward, the fleet anchored at Cabo Corrientes on the south coast of Cuba. The main body sailed to Cabo San Antonio, the westernmost point of Cuba, leaving the Bornvich and Zealand yacht at Cabo Corrientes. This was part of a preconceived tactical plan, which involved the major ships laying in wait north of Havana and the two yachts acting as scouts to cover the Florida Straits. Their task would be to alert the main force when an important target was sighted. Yet the plan failed. The Zealand ships rounded Cabo San Antonio and cruised in the waters west of Havana. When they spotted two large Spanish ships to the south, they prepared to engage. A fierce and bloody battle ensued, in which one of the Spanish ships, the San Antonio, was captured. Keen to avoid Spanish counterattacks, the Zealand ships then quickly sailed for home. Meanwhile, the Bornvich and the Zealand yacht remained at Cabo Corrientes on the south side of Cuba for several weeks, ignorant of the great victory that their compatriots had achieved north of Cuba. Departing from Cabo Corrientes and rounding the western point of Cuba, the two ships arrived off Havana in late July and spotted 3 Spanish galleons. Attacking 3 galleons with 200 to 300 men and at least 20 guns each was obviously beyond the powers of the 2 Dutch yachts. The captains of the 2 Dutch yachts agreed to proceed further south, probably to keep an eye on the Spanish ships while hoping to alert the larger Zealand ships, which, unbeknownst to them, were by this time well on their way back to Europe. During the night, the yachts lost contact with each other. I can't see. Oh yeah, they lost contact with each other. Thereupon, the Bornvich turned north and sailed to the agreed point of rendezvous off the Florida coast, but the Zealand yacht did not turn up. After waiting a few days, Captain Jan Ryer Swartz decided that he could not hang around any longer, so he sailed north to New Amsterdam. Johannes de Light informs us of the subsequent whereabouts of the Bornvich. Finally, the yacht sailed along the coast of Florida to New Netherland and anchored in the mouth of the North River on the 29th of August. Departing from there on the last of September, it returned to Texel on the 25th of October. Thus, the group of enslaved Africans arrived at Manhattan with the Bornvich on the 29th of August, 1627. But how do we know that this was the first arrival? Keep going. O'Callaghan in a 1644 document. According to Edmund Bailey, O'Callaghan.
I'll just brush over that. This is referring to a 1644 document to prove if this was the first arrival in Manhattan, New York, or New Netherlands. Not anywhere else, just this specific place.
Okay. According to Edmund Bailey, O'Callaghan, a 19th century historian and editor of historical documents relating to early New York, the introduction of the institution of slavery in New Amsterdam and New Netherland took place in 1625 or 1626. O'Callaghan presented his view as an established historical fact, referring to one single document as evidence, the reply to a request submitted to Director and Council of New Netherland in 1644. The document lists the groups of enslaved Africans who have served the company for 18 and 19 years, and thus O'Callaghan concluded they must have first set foot on Manhattan in 1625 or 1626. In keeping with the scholarly standards of his time, he did not thoroughly investigate the veracity of information gleaned from a document dated only 2 decades after the event and took it at face value instead. O'Callaghan presumed that the enslaved Africans who first arrived in New Amsterdam were captured at sea by Dutch privateers in the Caribbean. While they turned out to be correct, it does not support his dating. Nevertheless, historians have accepted his interpretation, with some doubt only gradually creeping in over the last 3 decades. The chronological evidence from the 1644 document is flimsy. It should be rejected. In addition, the contextual evidence rules out the possibility of an arrival of enslaved Africans on Manhattan prior to 1627. First, the arrival of captives taken during privateering raids does not fit into the shipping patterns of New Netherlands by ships from the Dutch West Indian Company. Furthermore, neither the timing or the company's gradual acceptance of the institution slavery nor the situation in the New Netherlands at this early stage support the possibility of pre-1627 arrival. All Dutch privateering in the Caribbean in the mid-1620s was carried out by the West Indian Company. Its activities are well documented through a compendium compiled and published by company director Johannes de Leet. The standard operating procedure for the company to set out ships in separate flotillas in the early months of the year. These would sail into the South Atlantic and then try to join forces in Caribbean waters. The general route was set by the prevailing currents and winds. First south from Europe to cross the Atlantic and reach the South American coast, then west along the Wild Coast to enter the Caribbean, and gradually progress toward the western point of Cuba and lie in wait of North Havana in the summer months before the start of the hurricane season. The Dutch ships sailed north to return to Europe without a regular stopover at New Amsterdam.
So here's an article from the paper referring to this whole thing. And as you can see, it gives the date right there of August 1628 and referring to the ships. All right. So for people who can't see it, it says a low, middle, oblique view of the Navy Havana on the 31st of July, then August 1628, between the Spanish commander Admiral Alvaro de la Cerda and the Dutch under Admiral Peter Adriaanzen's 1620-1629, resulting in the Dutch victory, courtesy of the Royal Collection of Trust. All right, here's the end of this. Shipping to New Netherlands.
Shipping to New Netherlands in the 1620s followed a different pattern. Ships crossed the Atlantic and then headed northwest to the North American mainland, following the coastline to reach the Hudson River. They did not enter the Caribbean, as the ships sailed to New Netherlands were supply ships carrying colonists, cattle, and provisions for a budding colony. They were generally not as heavily armed as privateering ships. Entering the Caribbean to engage in hostilities would jeopardize passengers and supplies. The shipping patterns rule out the enslaved Africans captured through privateering arrived on Manhattan in 1625 or 1626. Second, we must consider the company's entry into the slave trade. In contrast to what some scholars assert, the Dutch West Indian Company was not founded with the primary aim to engage in the trade of human beings, but rather to support the Dutch war effort against Spain and Portugal. Yet, in a protracted process, the company's role in the slave trade gradually moved from an inconceivable notion to a stark reality. In late 1623, it drew up plans for attacks on Portuguese, Brazil, and Angola. The company now faced the quintessential question: was slavery justifiable overseas? This was an issue with wide-ranging economic, legal, religious, and existential ramifications, both to the company and to the Dutch Republic. What would be the effect on the Dutch war effort against Spain? The company turned to a traditional Dutch solution. They appointed a committee. Meanwhile, the West Indian Company did not engage in the transatlantic slave trade yet, nor did it use or acquire enslaved labor in its few overseas factories and conquests. During the attack on Portuguese, Brazil, the Dutch commander did not know what to do with Africans on the slave ships they captured. From 1624 to 1626, Dutch privateers on a number of occasions allowed captured ships with black cargoes to sail on. Back in the Dutch Republic, the appointed committee most likely solicited advice from the religious authorities in Amsterdam and elsewhere. 1 second. Shut the fuck up.
You might still laugh.
God damn. I can't read. Shit. They over here fighting.
What?
I'm back now. No,
Yes.
My kids in here arguing over a show, and they loud. All right.
Okay. Thank you for interrupting.
I'm back. Meanwhile, where are we at? Back in the Dutch Republic,
Yeah.
the appointed committee most likely solicited advice from the religious authorities in Amsterdam and elsewhere. The committees may also have been influenced by Hugo Grotius, de jure belli ac posses. How do you say that name? Grotius provided a framework which legitimized slavery to some extent, but imposed limitations as well. The applications of the root of booty to enslaved people captured on prize ships would allow the company
to use captured Africans as forced laborers.
I can't find it.
You can't find it?
There you go. Okay, to use captured Africans as forced laborers, but not to sell them. The company held its general meeting in Amsterdam in November 1626, and a month later, the Zeeland Chamber decided to send a yacht to Angola, specifically to acquire a few wax and take these to the Amazon or to such a place where the company might have settled its people. This is the first reference to the intention within the company's leadership to use enslaved labor. Company servants overseas quickly followed. In March 1627, Captain Jan van Ryn, the leader of the expedition to the Oyapock River, requested black manpower. By 1627, the Dutch West India Company was about to condone the use of enslaved labor. Thus, a presumed first arrival of enslaved Africans at New Amsterdam prior to 1627 is not compatible with the pace of change of policies and practice of the West Indian Company regarding slavery and slave trade. Man, they was like forced to use it. Nope, you gotta go up. Finally, we must consider the state of New Netherland. We know that the Dutch attempt to settle on Manhattan was eventually successful, but in its early years, that was not a foregone conclusion. Contemporaries are very much aware of the dangers that could bring ruin to a new vulnerable settlement. Failed harvest, interruption of supplies from Europe, and attacks by European competitors or indigenous peoples could all wipe out a colony. In the years preceding the settling of Manhattan, news of deadly incidents in the Americas regularly reached Amsterdam. The fear of indigenous attacks impacted the decision-making process of the West Indian Company. Nevertheless, in late 1623, the company sent a number of Walloon families to New Netherland in order to defend the Dutch claims against English counterclaims. They were distributed over 4 sites in 1624, including Governor's Island and Fort Orange on the upper reaches of the Hudson River. Early in 1626, an incident occurred at Fort Orange, resulting in the death of a small number of soldiers. The colonial authorities quickly decided to concentrate all confidence on Manhattan. This news reached the Dutch Republic in the summer of 1626. There was a sigh of relief when the latest news from New Amsterdam arrived a few months later. The people were safe, children had been born, the harvest was good, and a number of peltries had been shipped over, and the island of Manhattan had been purchased. So by November 1626, the West Indian Company authorities of the Dutch Republic knew that New Amsterdam was safe for the time being. Simultaneously, the company decided in favor of using the labor of enslaved Africans captured on Iberian ships. Up to 1626, New Netherland had not been a potential destination for enslaved labor. By 1627, it was. Motive and means combined with opportunity during the voyage of the Brunvich. Okay. Scholarly historians strive to be as exact as possible when determining what happened at which point in time. But the significance of establishing that the first arrival took place on the 29th of August, 1627, is not just that it provides a firm date and dispels the vagueness that has surrounded the start of slavery in New York. It also helps us to define the role of enslaved labor in the initial phase of the colonization of New Netherland. By this time that the first enslaved Africans arrived, New Netherland had weathered its first precarious years and had achieved a stability that allowed it to expand further. Although slavery was not a feature of New Netherland from its inception, the enslaved labor that the first African Americans provided will nevertheless play an important role in the colony's development into the 1630s and 1640s. It became even more important in the 1650s and 1660s when imports directly from Africa increased their number at most, number to at most 170 in 1660. In addition, establishing that the first enslaved Africans arrived on the Brunvich allows us to pinpoint exactly when the institution of slavery was introduced into New Amsterdam and New Netherland, and thus unto what later became New York City and State. It is New York's 1619 moment. Whether and in what way the 29th of August, 1627 should be commemorated in New York is not a scholarly manner. But those who value accuracy and reliability in history will no doubt find ways to do so. And we now have not just a correct year, but even an exact date to replace the inaccurate dating of 1625, 1626. The years 2027 provides the opportunity to commemorate both the abolition of slavery in New York State, 1827, as well as its beginning in 1627.
If you want to read the credentials.
Whose credentials?
Right there, in black.
Jeff Jacobs, PhD, Leiden 1999, is affiliated with the University of St. Andrews. He has specialized in the early American history, specifically the Dutch in the Americas in the early modern period. His publications on Dutch New York include The Colony of New Netherlands, a Dutch settlement in 17th century America. Ithaca, Cornell University Press, 2009. He is currently working on a biography of Petrus Stuyvesant.
All right. You don't know nothing about that. Do what?
I have a question. So is this saying like this Dutch company was like kind of forced into dealing with slaves?
It participated in the slave trade. The Dutch come in late. They don't come in early like the Spanish, the Portuguese, and the British, and the English. The Dutch, they enter it late. They got beef with Spain and Portugal. And in their beef with Spain and Portugal, right, part of their beef is to take their booty. Not booty in the sense of a female having a booty, but that's what they called it once upon a time when you talk about their resources. And some people in the chat might know about that, what I mean by that. So hold on, let me see if I can pull up something that'll be a little bit useful for this conversation. There's this book that I want to refer to in this. So let me see if I got it up here or whatever. Where my book at? Okay, so it ain't on here. Let me go to Google real quick. Let me go to my what's the name. But yeah, so that's what you get going on. You got people that are saturating it, controlling the trade. The Portuguese built the monopoly on the trade. The Spanish didn't like that the Portuguese was building a monopoly on the trade, so the Spanish got involved. The Spanish and the Portuguese was two of the heavy hitters. Then another European nation will get involved, right? Because they cornering the market. They doing all the shit that everybody else ain't doing. and they getting paid buku money off this shit, right? So that's how you get the Dutch coming in late. But they had beef prior to that. If you look at the Mediterranean back in the 10th, 11th century, or whatever the case may be, there's a lot of wars that go on in the Mediterranean, right? And there's trade going on, and then there's warring going on, and then there's pirating going on. So you have all these different scenarios of shit that is trend. All that did was all the beef that happened in the Mediterranean spilled over into the Atlantic. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So that's why they're saying that they really wasn't trying to get into it, this, that, and the third. But if you're taking their resources, and part of their resources are bodies, are you know what I'm saying, from Africa, what you gonna do? Take the people? No, that's a waste of your money. I mean, your energy. You just spend all these resources going to war with these people. So then what happened? So I just think that was a polite way for them saying that they entered the slave trade on the grounds of yada yada yada, which is still some bullshit. Hey man. You see how I muted right there? You couldn't hear what I said?
Yeah.
That's what you gotta do. Mute your motherfucking mic before you start yelling.
Well, you got a glimpse. They grown. I gotta yell at.
All right, so I'm gonna pull up this book. It's called A Fist Full of Shells, West Africa. It's written by Toby Green. Give me a second. Notice how the elbows came, didn't say nothing in the chat, and then they dipped. That's how you know you're on to something. When they don't want no smoke. So y'all, you see this right here? A fist full of shells.
I didn't know.
You can't see the screen?
Yeah, it just popped up though.
Bruh, man, what is you looking at, your cell phone, bruh?
No, it had the circle. There you go. I see it now. By Toby Green.
Hey, look, dude.
What's his name?
Wow.
West Africa from the rise of the slave trade to the age of revolution.
There you go. So you'll see that word booty in this book. You'll see it in many history books dealing with those times. Look at Mohammed Bello. Read that right there, that quote from Mohammed Bello. Hold on, let me zoom in. You ain't got to read the other part because you can't translate shit. You don't know what he's speaking right there. A lot of people quote Mohammed Bello though.
Let's take a look. I am spinning. Right? I'm spinning what remains to me of life and investment.
Like a dish that the host can blow on. Then read the other part. Dang.
The stranger is like a dish that the host can blow on. That says La Cine Diabate. I'm spinning what remains to me of life, an investigation of the history of this age, and in terms of fortune, good, and ill. Readers will derive pleasure from the narration of an explanation. I go forward to add some ideas of my own. I have not stolen my fire from anyone's lamp.
Yeah, that's the dopest line right there.
Yes.
I have not stolen my fire from anyone's lamp. Yeah. See, I told you on mute, bro.
To be perfect.
Right? Yeah. But isn't this a G?
No.
You ain't mute. Ain't mute. God, bro.
Not bad.
Treasure money resources type jive. Pocket full of style. Yo, Gullah crazy in the chat. Gullah crazy. Bruh. All right, so let me get out of the Zoom on this. So we just put y'all on game of what we're talking about when you hear booty, right? Just look at the chapters. 3 measures of gold, the rise and fall of great empires of the Sahel. And just keep going. But my whole thing is if you know, based on the conversation we had, the show from the other day and up until now, y'all should clearly understand West Africans was not looking toward the Atlantic for any of its resources. What would be across the Atlantic that they would be interested in? With all the trade routes, they got gold, they got salt. Salt was worth more than gold to these people. Why the fuck are they crossing the Atlantic looking for some salt? Ain't got no reason or anything. They getting everything right there through them trade routes, through them empires. Dealing with them Muslims is coming down there trying to set up trade. Dealing with the Jews coming down there trying to set up trade. The Jews ain't pushing them east. The Muslims ain't pushing them east because both of them ain't got no control. They both trying to get in where they fit in. And it just behooves me that people would think that we want to go east. Hold on, let me get to this one part. I'm going to show y'all something. Let's get into chapter 1. Just a little brief little part of chapter 1.
I think it's because most people think that they think that the Africans were untouched when when Europeans came to them.
Okay, so let me say this real quick. Why would Mansa Musa, if the person that's the heir of the throne is going in the Atlantic, why would Mansa Musa go in the Atlantic after him? If it was such a big deal. We're talking about a person that's the ruler of your kinship. Just up and gone. Why y'all ain't gonna go after him? And why ain't nobody else telling the story? People ain't asking these questions, but they got a whole fucking lot to say. Like, for real, like why ain't nobody, you know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe I'm too logical. All right, do me a favor, read this first part right here. Just the first paragraph. I'm gonna skip ahead. Just this first paragraph right here.
20th of July, 1649, Garcia II, the Monte Congo, sat down to compose a letter to his counterpart, King João IV of Portugal. The court of the Congolese king was a luxurious affair, rich with carpets and tapestries from Flanders, cloths woven in India, and silver inlaid dining services and religious ornaments made from the ores of the New World. There were pearls fished by enslaved African divers in the Caribbean and then sold on by Venetian traders. Beyond the high-status foreign imports, the court was also filled with woven Congo cloths inlaid with symbolic meanings, and the Monte Congo and the chief advisors wore strings of coral beads and red sashes in the Congo style. Secretaries sat at the Monte Congo side and inscribed his letters, which he then signed off with a flourish, for he wrote to the Portuguese king as someone whom he saw as an equal in a great game, which at the time took in Atlantic African kingdoms such as Alala, Benin, Dinkiera, and Congo, as well as China and the rising European powers.
No, that's it. That's it. Yeah, see, y'all don't be studying this history, bro. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. Look, they go to Dutch. Look, what it say? Although the Portuguese War of Independence from Spain still had 19 years to run, they had thrown out their main imperial rivals, the Dutch. Now you see why they was down there on the coastline of Africa fighting with the stealing their goddamn ships. They had real beef with the Portuguese. Real beef with the Portuguese.
I was reading that.
Look, then the Dutch from the slave trade in Port of Luanda and Angola the year before, and had also occupied the southern Angolan town of Benguela. 5 years later, in 1654, the Portuguese defeat the Dutch in Brazil with Follow. Where did the Dutch get that shit? They went, when they got the Portuguese shit, they went straight to their Dutch territory in South America. What we know is Brazil. The Portuguese will follow beefing. That ain't even the only part of that. There's more to the story, because this is how we know, like when your boy Vino come on the panel and he be saying some of the shit he be saying, he don't even really be knowing that these people be jacking each other because they got inner beef with each other. This is just pieces of what's going on. And our ancestors are just bargaining tools to supply their purpose for other shit that they got going on. Finance that shit. Hold on. Get out of the intro. Hey man, I don't be studying the African history, bro.
But that's also, but that's why you gotta make it known, like when they do the conspiracy theories that they do, like they just say white people. Like, what are white people? Because all these people who you're grouping together as white people were fighting each other. Right. They all wanted land. They all wanted to dominate trade. They were fighting each other at the time. So they're not getting together to make a narrative, because the narrative would be, I won. No, I won. No, I won. Like, what are you talking about?
Right. Then they create these little sections over here. Spanish Florida. You know what I mean? The Dutch, the British Isles. You know what I'm saying? Why we got these islands under British rule or Spanish rule? It makes no sense. Economic divergence in West Central Africa. So I'm here we go, y'all. I'm just give y'all a little piece of this little first paragraph. Not right here, but just look real briefly. Africa and the Atlantic from 1400 to 1680. Who arrived first? Portuguese. Began along the coast following the capture of Ceuta in Morocco. We all know how this go. Who's next? Portuguese. Where they go? The river near Senegal. 2 years later, what happens? First African captive sold in Europe at Lagos in Portugal by the Portuguese. What happened behind that? Diego Gomez is the first European to travel far inland in West Africa, several hundred miles up the Gambia River. 1453, you got the Ottoman Empire seizes Constantinople. Portuguese efforts to navigate down the African coast to redouble to seek a mythical Christian king by the name of Prester John, some bullshit, to ally against the Ottomans. It goes back to something that you were saying about how Christopher Columbus was looking for an alternate route to get to India. See how all of this is coming into play? There's so many different pieces moving leading up to 1492. Look, Genoa sends traders to Saharan oasis to try to gain better access to what? Gold. Why they trying to gain better access to gold? Rivalry with the Portuguese. 1482, Portuguese build Elmina. And then they start fighting over Elmina. It changed hands over and over. 1486, Portuguese arrives at Benin off the port of Guantan. 1488, Bonajiling, the Jollof prince. Wolof. It's really Wolof. In Portugal to seek support in a conflict, the rival acclaimant to the Wolof king. 1490, Benin sends an embassy to Gil II of Portugal. By this date, the gold fields of Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire are supplying 30,000 ounces of gold a year to who? Portugal. Remember when I told you that they had a monopoly on this shit earlier on? We ain't playing no games, bro. 1500s. Now you start seeing this Congo shit come up. But what is pivotal here is something that your friend like to bring up. So 1531 to 1539, Benin refuses to trade male slaves to Portugal. Portuguese send a failed evangelized mission to Benin in 1539. They're trying to convert and get them to engage in selling selling the slaves. 1571 to 72, who shows up? Francis Drake seeks help from who? Maroons in Panama. This man is asking in 1571 for help from the Maroons in Panama. Why? Because Sir Francis Drake is trying to get his goods and services back from some motherfuckers down there that enslaved them and jacked them and put them there. Remember, in the other book I told y'all, Sir Francis Drake got the use of the Maroons to help him fight back to get his goods that they just took from him. Him meaning the Spanish. Drake was against the Spanish. So he got with the Maroons and they went back and jacked their shit. I read that story to y'all on one of them shows that I did regarding Panama. Then look, foundation of the city of Luanda by the Portuguese, 1575 to 1590. Traders from where? Sao Tome began slave trading at Elada. The slave trade from Elada grows rapidly 1600 to 1640. What happened in 78? The Moroccan forces destroyed Portuguese army at the Battle of Alcir Quibir. 1590s, the Dutch, who? The Dutch began trading for copper and textiles in Luango coast, north of the estuary of the River Congo. 1595, major slave uprising at Sao Tome sees destruction of many sugar plantations and decline the island of sugar industry. 1606, Congo's coastal province and Soyo begins to send a diplomatic feelers to the Dutch. Remember, the Congo was dealing with who first? Portuguese. 1607 to 94, the foundation and consolidation of the longest lasting Maroon society in the Americas. The Palmeiras and the Pernambuco, Brazil, which was eventually defeated by the Brazilian military force. 1617, you got the foundation of Benguela by the Portuguese in what is now southern Angola. 1622, the Congo army under Pedro II, they defeat the Portuguese. 1624, the Dutch seize Bahia in Brazil from the Portuguese and send fleet to Angola, hoping to capture Luanda, but the Mini-Congo refuses to cooperate. This is also what? The Dutch right here? It's also around the time you was just reading about them, the New Netherlands shit. 1630, Dutch seize northern captains of the Brazil from the Portuguese, so they take their fucking shit. 1637, the Dutch conquered the fort of Elmina. I told you it kept changing hands. 1640 to 1670, many ice ages causes widespread ecology upheaval and triggers political insecurity in many parts of West and West Central Africa. The 40s, the English ships start arriving. So, one more time, the English ships start arriving along the Gold Coast in the Bight of Benin and Biafra in 1640. The Dutch seized Luanda and Sao Tome from the Portuguese. Constant beef. 1642 to 43, in the Congo and Soho sent ambassadors to Dutch and Brazil and in the United Provinces. It's going on and on. Like, what are we doing? Brazilian fleet recaptures Luanda and Sao Tome from the Dutch. They're going back and forth. Now you can see that there's so much turmoil between these European nations, and in the middle of all of that shit, they enslaving us. They're enslaving people and selling them and bringing them to go work in sugar plantations and so forth. They doing all that to build up their empire against one another. Out of all of that shit, Africans was the biggest pawns. The Portuguese defeat Angola and Ndongo and the Puango and Ndongo. And I'm going to stop right there. And now this give you West and West Central political history. I don't even want to get into that. That's just a brief That ain't even day to day. That's just brief history about all the turmoil that was transpiring during that time. For real. 3 Measures of Gold, the rise and fall of the great empires of the Sahel. I don't even want to tell y'all what happened. I dropped a link in the chat earlier, man, because I want to smoke with the Abos.
Yeah, right.
36. It's facts. Facts. 36 zips is a brick. Crazy work, bro. Straight up. 36 ounces. Go get your boy where he at.
He went in here?
Nah, you know he gonna listen and not say nothing. Now we brought up the Canaries where he at.
Yeah, he said he had some canary smoke. Oh, okay.
Okay. Here we go. Here they go right here. Here go who Christopher Columbus was describing. So who he gonna claim? I bet you he don't claim none of these people black. I bet you he gonna be them is the Peckerwood. Sean P. Them is the Peckerwood. Sean P. Them is the what they be calling the Native Americans, what they call the indigenous people. When they
I just remember he was like highly disrespectful.
Sean P. Sean P. Them is the Mongoloids, Sean P. Them is not the indigenous people. We the indigenous. Them is not the Mongoloids, Sean P. The Mongoloids.
I don't know. He just been doing his, Sean P versus Reno things right now. Is he on like part 5 or something?
Nah, he pseudos. I don't know what.
Yes, he did. They're trying to work with him though.
That's your pride. It's your fault.
No,
Right, you failing miserably.
I understand that, but I do understand how they work though. They find one thing, they go down a rabbit hole.
Nah, bro, I don't care what you talking about. You should.
But I didn't know about the Canary people before I researched it. So I didn't know what they like what they look like or like why that was.
But now forget the Canary people. What I'm saying is if he's saying the closest thing he's seen to the Canaries is these people that paint themselves black, is this not a description of what he's resembling? What is he saying that they looking like the Canary people? Is it the phenotype from his visual?
Yeah, that's what he was saying.
Okay.
You talking about Christopher Columbus?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's what they're saying, like from the way they look. And he was saying it made sense because of how close they were. Like how in line they were to the Canary Islands. So then you would have to go and see like what was his reference point, which was Canary, because like they were saying that they thought that he was confused. Like, oh, he was just confusing them, but he wasn't confused. He knew what West Africans looked like. And he had just stopped at the Canary Islands before he got there. They stopped at the Canary Islands first. And then went from there to, they ended up over here in the Caribbean. So he like, hey, these people look like them people from that other place. But they were less knowledgeable of things, like they didn't know about, the swords and stuff. So, but he didn't say they look like Africans.
He said they didn't.
He didn't say they look like Africans or the slaves that they had or anything. Like, he didn't say that. And that would, if they did look like that, that would have been his reference point, because it wasn't like he was ignorant to what they looked like. He knew the differences. He saw them both.
So he saw them both.
A lot of people act like he was ignorant to that. Like, well, he didn't know what Africans looked like, so therefore he just thought they was too. Like, no, he knew the difference.
Who said that? Who said? Hold on, wait a minute. Who said that? You just said, or you just
whenever I talk to the Abos, that's what their thing is that he didn't know. He didn't know what West Africans would look like at all. So they think that when he came here, he confused them.
Africans look like he had one on the goddamn ship with him too.
I understand that, but no, they don't understand that, or they act like they don't believe it. That's why I said they had taken slaves from West Africa and put them, and they had them in Spain for a long time. And so then when he went to the Canary Islands, he had stopped there. You know, the ship stopped there right before they even came to the Caribbean. So when he said West Africa on the Canary Islands, yeah, they were West Africans, not all of them. But when he said they looked like the people on the Canary Island, that was specific. And they had indigenous people there too.
You on your what? You on your phone?
Me? No.
Pull up the Canarians. What the Canarians look like? Not how I do it. So.
I had a whole picture of them on my thing too. They look just like them almost.
I'm finna pull them up. What kind of culture they got?
What do you mean, kind of culture?
You know what I mean? What kind of culture do they possess?
No, I don't know what you mean. Did they? I don't know how to say the name that they call them. Gorges. Like, what do you mean by their culture? Like, did they fight or something, or what did they eat?
The island, they got culture on the island. They got song, dance, all that. They shit more like the Spanish. I'm gonna show y'all. Look at this.
Kind of. I mean, it's Spanish now, but can't say it's Spanish then. Now they're highly just, it's like a Spanish, it's almost like a just extra Spanish country today.
Yeah, and they got a lot of sugar in their tank. They run off sugar. You see this woman right here?
You said a lot of sugar in their tank.
They look like on that island. A lot of them do. A lot of them are light, but a lot of them that's in the sun, they kind of had that right there. You wouldn't call this lady a black woman. But look at her skin tone. And that's a clear representation of the last picture that I just showed you, because a lot of people get confused. This is what I mean. This is not a black woman right here. Look at her hair. It's coarse, like the tail of a horse, braided to the back. Think about that descriptive. It's being specific right there. Like, you know what I'm saying? We know the pale skins ain't the, you know, they're the colonizers, because they damn sure colonized that island. For sure. They done mixed it up so bad they didn't consume the people that remained there that survived the diseases. And I bet y'all like, oh, you making it up. No, I ain't. Look, they look just like the Berbers. You see it, the Gauchos. Them the Gauchos. Y'all don't know what the Gauchos is? Yeah, I gotta read up on that.
What's it called? Conscious?
The
I can't
Gauchos.
say the name right.
The Gauchos. K-U-T, I think.
I knew how to spell,
Yeah.
but I was like, oh, that's it.
I don't care how you say it. Shit. Read up on that stuff. Yeah, Guanches. They look just like some North Africans.
You know your screen is black.
Yeah, I know my screen black because I was sharing something. I'm finna reshare. What you say, Donnie? You know she part of your lineage. Y'all having a whole nother conversation.
Hold on.
Hold on 1 second, y'all. Talk while I'm talking.
I don't know what that meant. I'm just in the Canary Islands. He said they don't look like the people from Kitty. So, well, if you're bored, you can go to the Bar Reloaded and watch my I did a take on a debate for Columbus coming here before Africans, because he did. Yeah, he said they look like Canarians, and the people on the Canary Island is not. They don't look like the West Africans at the time.
Hold on, y'all. All right.
Are y'all arguing about Kamala Harris?
But on the screen, man, y'all see the people, bro. The Gauchos. Them people is invaders. They invaders, man. But this is the Canary Islands, though, and this is what he kind of referring back to. Not the modern people that's there now. It's more so to look like the North African Berbers, where they have like this little tent about them and shit. This tent that look just similar to the other people that I showed on the screen before they was assimilated in. Who Jamaican?
Not talking about Kamala.
But yeah, man, I ain't gonna hold y'all up today, man. I just wanted to come in real quick, let y'all know that we found the Aboriginal Haplogroup. The FBA Haplogroup, it's non-existent. They all African Americans. They all African ancestry. Ain't a single one of them ain't got no African ancestry in them. Period. Not a single one. EIE, her father don't have two black parents. Who father don't have two black parents? Y'all better go look at her father. The Jamaican dude, he ain't white. That nigga black as hell. He blacker than Garfield. And you can't get that from mix. If his what y'all saying is if her dad his father is white. Okay. I want y'all to think about what y'all saying. The father is black as fuck. He can't have a white parent. What y'all seeing is y'all not seeing Garfield is Scottish. Everybody in Jamaica got Scottish in them. My point is, you can't get her dad as black as her dad is. That ain't no being out in the sun type, none of that shit. Phenotypically speaking, you can't get that dark of a phenotype having mixed parents. Being biracial. Show me a biracial person that is phenotypically darker than he is. They're going to look lighter than me. Since we're talking skin tone. Phenotypically speaking, you don't get an Indian person. A biracial person and an Indian person making a dark-skinned person. It won't happen. So his dad ain't no white. Garfield got Scottish and shit and Irish in him. Everybody that's on the island of Jamaica be having that Irish Scottish shit. You still ain't listening to me. You saying his dad is Indian and black. What are Afro-Jamaicans? His parents are Afro-Jamaicans. His parents. Not her mama. His parents. We know her mama is Indian. I'm not looking up that family tree because if that shit online, it ain't even accurate. Show me the DNA. That's how you gonna get down to the bottom of that. All that family tree shit, that ain't gonna fly. Because people can go online and start making up shit. That lady father is black. Her mama's Indian. She's biracial. One more time. That dude, the parents to him ain't gonna be no Scottish. Ain't gonna be no white man. It's gonna be two black people made him. I mean, I just put the easiest way that I did it is her parents. One is Indian and one is Jamaican. We all know the Jamaicans are no different from us, except you might see more African in them for some folks because it's less admixture. But they do have some admixture in there that goes back a few generations because of the Scottish and the Irish that were in those areas. And that's why you see Jamaicans with that admixture in them. Right, not the native Indian. Right. That dude said not the native Indian, the 7-Eleven store Indians. I don't want to say like, yeah, but they got like really long names that we can't really say. However, for all of y'all arguing about her blackness, she black. If she not black, I'm not black. What is black? What's a coolie? Watch this. I'm finna kill everybody. Saying they are again. Gotcha. Hold on 1 second. Y'all brought this shit up, so y'all gotta live with this. Your cousin just Japanese and black. So that's what she is. She Japanese and black. Straightforward answer is the Jamaicans are predominantly West African with a significant amount of European ancestry, where you see the Scottish and Irish, and a smaller but notable influence of East Asian, primarily Chinese or East what? Indian and other ethnic groups. This is Jamaicans. And why they see that East Asian and Indian contribution is because of the right here. Indigenous people used to populate Jamaica, the Taino Indians. This look like Garfield shit. 80% Sub-Saharan African, 10% European, 5% East Asian. Yeah, hey, listen. I just put on the screen. I ain't doing none of that family tree shit because that's not enough evidence for me to adhere to a genealogical tree. Shit, Sha Sun just caught somebody making up their own goddamn tree over there in Aboville, talking about that these people was black the whole time. He didn't even look at the race part of it where it says Caucasian, and he didn't effed it all up. The dude over there didn't effed up what he was trying to do to Sha Sun, making up shit. So I would prefer her to take a DNA test. And if she got a brother, get a DNA test from her brother. And her father can take a DNA test. He gonna be about 80% African. But all Jamaicans gonna have some of that East Asian in them. East Asian, European, and Sub-Saharan Africans. That's the average Jamaican's DNA too. 80% Sub-Saharan, 10% European, 5 to 6% East Asian. Who's scamming, Donnie? Yeah, that's why they be trying to claim that Asian shit, bro. You know what I'm saying? And I hate when they be doing that. They be trying to claim like every little piece of they DNA. Like, bro, let that little shit go. Yeah, some people gonna have that. 5% of African Americans are gonna have some sort of 5% of African Americans will have 1, 2, or 3% of East Asian DNA and a little bit more than that. But very little have 5. Oh yeah. Hold on. Let me show y'all. Hold on. Let me pull this up first. Y'all know I got too many tabs up. So before and I dropped the link in the chat, bro. Like y'all running around here trying to act like y'all, you know what I'm saying? Scared of some shit. Let me show y'all this shit. This is hilarious. I do not have no 25%. You fucking lied to yourself. You doing like Ling Ling. You just doing badass math for no fucking reason. Because you got 40% European. Both of y'all lying. Two big-headed niggas in the chat lying. Both of them just so happen to be big-headed women. So, let me show y'all this. I don't know what you share, Olu. Let me just do it this way. All right, y'all see this? Shaw posted this the other day. Look at this shit. This is on a live stream. Who put this on here? OTK? Yeah. OTK did this. Look. 6, male, principal, South Carolina deaths, 1915 to 1973. Death, the 3rd of May, 1934. Colton, South Carolina. Birth, 1890, South Carolina. Burial, 1934. Occupation, farmer. Race, black. There's an orange dot. Ethnicity, Caucasian. Orange dot. Marital status, married, age 44. Parents, Nancy Wallington, James Brown. Nobody has, no other form has a dot somewhere. How are you black? Your race is black and your ethnicity is Caucasian. Why are those two things highlighted? Because he went on there and changed it and tried to fake it. He's a damn liar. $23 about to sell that shit. Look at that though. Race, black, ethnicity, Caucasian. I need an answer to the question. Who the fuck race is black and then their ethnicity is Caucasian. Wouldn't ethnicity need to be like European and not Caucasian? Wouldn't ethnicity be like yo, this motherfucker put Caucasian. German. Yep, that's it. Bro, it's on I shared it. It's on the Mossi Warrior Clan. It's on the page. Bro, I told you. Look, it's on my page, bro. Right there. Share. Mossi Warrior Clan. Shared 1 day ago. On the page with the post. Bro. This what you dealing with. Deceitful, lying ass, sack of shit motherfuckers. Man, quit calling them people 7-Eleven Indians. Bro, you tripping, bro. Keep saying 7-Eleven Indian. Bro, you tripping, bro. I got a P90 Ruger to pop it, y'all. Bro, I need to go make me a dessert, bro. Y'all tripping in the chat. What y'all got to say about that? What y'all got to say about this screenshot? I got a P90 Ruger to pop it, y'all. She said it's a lie. Indians and Native Americans, just say it that way. We can understand, I promise. Sean, you talk about people, moms and grandmas, and you getting mad at 7-Eleven. That's why I ain't mad at 7-Eleven. I ain't talked about your mama or grandmama. So why you worry about who grandmama or mama I talk about? You sound like a hypocrite. Because you be the same one in the chat talking about don't do that, don't say that. And now you sitting there allowing somebody to do that and say that. So which side is that on? Miss, that's wild. Yeah, OTK. Hold on. This is OTK right here. I forget which one it is. Nah, OTK, hold up.
How the fuck y'all find an African in my fucking family, but y'all ain't find
his own genealogy.
Shut the fuck up. That don't make sense, for one. Listen, y'all don't know what y'all did.
I feel like you standing on business.
Y'all lied on me, because y'all don't even know if that's me. And if y'all can trace that shit back to it's me, it's only 2 people in YouTube that got my information.
Yeah, he died by his own genealogy. You ain't an Indian, you ain't got a lot of me. Half of this track, best believe you lose a lot of sleep. Probably because you made it up to us honestly. You ain't a Cherokee, nope. You ain't a Chickasaw, nope. You ain't a Blackfoot, nope. Nigga, get lost. You just a fool with low comprehension.
I be getting them confused. I think that's Cosmon, but OTK. I don't know. I get them confused, bro. I be getting confused. But I think it's the same dude that just try to do that on that show. She said, that's my jam. Where you retarded? Yeah. I know they gotta just cleaned you out, son. No, she didn't. I don't think she. Never mind, I can't say it. I don't want to be disrespectful. I don't want to be disrespectful. But yeah, this is what they posted on their show the other day. So I don't know if the show is linked in the original post. Nah, I don't think so. He just did that. There is no ethnicity on an actual record or census. So he made this up. And even still, though, why would the ethnicity say Caucasian? And you talking South Carolina. One of them is from Alabama, and the other one is from South Carolina. I know that much. Yeah, open to nothing. It's facts. Open to knowing nothing. But yeah, man, listen, I ain't finna run no long ass show today, bro. I appreciate y'all. I might tap back in tomorrow. I'm off tomorrow, so I'm gonna go make me some dessert. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all evening, man. Appreciate y'all. But until then, we gonna keep hearing that bullshit.
Yeah. I'm built for it tough. No, this how I used to be feeling, killer, you heard me? Yeah. Crossed out hicks, feel like I'm possessed. I wanna and a baby did, it just ain't happened yet. My wife just said that paper there, I just ain't grab it yet. Nominated for the Grammys, I went back to jail. Racist judge found me guilty, sent me back to hell. Lost trial.
They believe that Abubakari and his crew landed somewhere in Brazil. And as you know, Brazil has the highest population of Africans outside of the continent. I also want to mention that Dr. Ivan Van Sertima in 1987, he presented evidence to the Congress to suggest, not even evidence to suggest, but evidence to prove that there was contact between the Native American people and African people.
Don't never go look for yourself inside somebody else, you heard me? Cause some of these niggas out here ain't really cut like we cut. You know, we cut from a bandana. You know, these niggas cut from shit paper, you heard me? That shit sounds good until it takes place. But I'm built for it tough, and I still hold up.
How the fuck y'all find an African in my fucking family,
He
but y'all
died
ain't
by
find
his
y'all?
own genealogy.
Shut the fuck up. That don't make sense, for one. Listen, y'all don't know what y'all
I
did.
don't feel like you standing on business.
And y'all lied on me, because y'all won't even know if that's me. And if y'all can trace that shit back to it's me, it's only 2 people in YouTube that got my information.
Yeah, he died by his own genealogy. You ain't an Indian, you ain't got a lot of meat. Half of this track, best believe you lose a lot of sleep. Probably because you made it up to us honestly. You ain't a Cherokee, you ain't a Chickasaw, you ain't a Blackfoot, nigga get lost. You just a fool with low comprehension. So I gotta come through with the henchmen. NAC, Sean P, Shy Son, Lucky. Don't forget Jay, got no time to play. Caught an apple slipping with his genealogy. Now he's a con and I ain't talking about a singer. I'm coming for the top apple leader. He ain't a teacher, he's a preacher. He can't keep up, so we leave him. Yeah, he died by his own genealogy. You ain't an Indian, you ain't got a lot of me. After the track, best believe you lose a lot of sleep. Probably because you made it up to us possibly. You ain't a Cherokee, no. You ain't a Chickasaw, no. You ain't a Blackfoot. Nigga, get lost. You just a fool with low comprehension. So I gotta come through with the henchmen. NAC, Sean P, Shy Son, Lucky. Don't forget Jay, got no time to play. Caught an apple slipping off his genealogy. Now he's a con. OTK, TKO. Now he's a con. OTK, you died. TKO genealogy.